Welcome to the post-race press conference of round 12 of the 2021 season of Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship. My name is Dan Hubbard. I'll be hosting the press conference here. We've got an amazing array of people from the press, and we're going to be talking to Cooper Webb and Ken Roczen. First, I want to make sure everybody knows to keep your mute on until you're called on. That's very important. Make sure your phones are sideways. And I also want to start by thanking both Cooper Webb and Ken Roczen for taking the time out of their busy schedule to be here and accommodate this post-race press conference. I want to start with Cooper Webb real quick. Cooper, you came into Arlington, the actual 3 races, a residency in Arlington, in second place. And then just like Ken did in Indianapolis, one by one, you knocked off all 3 in a row, 3 wins, and wound up taking the red plate. I want to say congratulations to you and the entire Red Bull KTM team for making that happen. One thing I wanted to talk about when I was on Race Day Live, I brought up the famous video of Jocko Willink, who talks about when he faces adversity, he uses the word good. Something happens, good. And I think you spoke about that, and it resonated with me. After your crash in the whoops in Arlington 2, you kind of made a speech about that. You kind of said, hey, good, it happens. I got to get back up, and it's good to have that kind of motivation. And I was just wondering, going into that round and even earlier in life, is that something you've always had? Did that develop as you got more competitive in Supercross? Is that a new thing? And did that help you in this round, in this residency in Arlington?
Yeah, thank you for all that. You know, like you said, it was a great 3 races. It couldn't have dreamed for really a better scenario. So yeah, like you said, with the practice crash, it was a tough one. But you know, like I said, sometimes you have to just deal with it the best you can. You know, crashes happen in our sport, and you try to limit them, but you know, they're gonna come and get you every once in a while. So yeah, my buddy and he always told me, Seth, that that it's good for you to get a good crash every once in a while and get it out of your way. So we always joke about that, but like you said, it was good to be able to bounce back and have the great results like I did.
Well, it was hard won and well done, and so congratulations. And I want to send it over to Ken Roczen as well. Ken, similar thing. You've been through probably more adversity than any professional sports athlete I think I've ever seen in my life, not just in Supercross, but overall. And I think that resonates with you too. When things are down, you tend to put that attitude in and build it back. And some of the riders in the press conferences have been talking about getting that extra 5% or 6% and finding it somewhere, no matter where they find it. And it seems like for you, after coming in 6th and round in the first Arlington race, and then getting up to 3rd and then 2nd, certainly heading in the right direction. And it seems like instead of 5%, maybe a half or a 1/10% to get that red plate back and really get to that next level. Do you know where you and your team are looking for that 1/10% or 0.5% to get ahead of Cooper Webb and try and get that red plate back?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, Cooper has been on it. You know, it's difficult to make up points when, you know, he's always 2nd or 1st for that matter. But obviously, Arlington was a bit of a rough one for us, especially to start off. But I guess the good thing I can hold on to that by Arlington 3, I was a lot more like myself again, and at least battling up front. So it was good to lead some laps and get good starts again. And yeah, you know, you see the first bit of the season, I think things were really going my way, and then it can also go the other way real quick. That's what we always talk about. But you know, the good thing is we still got 5 rounds to go, and yeah, I'm holding on to that. I left Arlington feeling a lot better than in the first round. Also going back to some base settings that I've had on my bike for the beginning of the year. And I guess that's how you try. You know, you find something that you want to work on, and you go into an off weekend and you try to always improve. You know, and sometimes it doesn't go the right way. So I had to kind of fall back into my base settings, and then I was riding a lot better again. But all in all, I mean, nothing we haven't talked about yet. You know, is that obviously the points are slipping away a little bit, but everything is still open, and that's what I'm holding on to. So now we haven't ever really had 2 weekends off in a Supercross season. So it'll be kind of nice to get a little bit of a reset here, enjoy a little bit, and then go again. But I'm keeping my head high, and yeah, be in good spirits.
Excellent. I'd imagine so. Well, congratulations to both of you. You've given us all a lot to talk about, and now I'm going to hand it over to our amazing Supercross press corps here and all the different people. And I see Michael Antonovich with Swap Moto Live has his hand up. And Michael Antonovich, would you like to ask a question of either Cooper Webb or Ken Roczen?
Well, thank you, Dan. This first one will be for Cooper Webb. Cooper, after the heat race, I think there was a lot of people wondering, from the TV people to us in the stadium, of how would you rebound for that main event? You clearly just didn't have the pace that Ken had right there. It was a track that you had struggled with all day. What was that turnaround time like between the heat race to the main event? And what did you guys do to make things better? Was it a bike setup change? Was it you wanting to find different lines? Or was it just a combination of everything?
It was a little bit of a combination of everything. We had tried a bike change for the heat that, obviously I didn't gel too well with. But, it was just a bad heat for sure. I mean, like you said, Ken was riding really well and was, all over me. And when he got around me, he pulled away, and then obviously, ended up going down and stuff. So kind of just went back and regrouped. And I think that was the biggest thing, was being able to regroup. It's easy to let things slip away and let that ruin your whole night. And so I was proud of myself for being able to rebound and get back on track and figure things out. I was able to watch some film and kind of see where I was losing a lot of time, and that rhythm section changed kind of throughout the day. That we had a bunch of rhythms we were all doing different, but kind of being able to see what was actually the fastest way through them all, I think was good. And like you said, I was able to adjust and it's hard to gain pace, that's for sure. And I was able to do that for the main event, which worked out really well.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
All right. Let's go to Matt Willinson from Motocross Performance Magazine.
Hey, thank you. This question is for Ken Roczen. Clearly an awesome start at Arlington 3, but have to ask, clearly you had made a beeline to the start gate and were taking a look at lines, stuff like that. So what was the study there? And if I may also ask, with these new mesh starts, how critical is the first 10 to 15 feet versus the finishing out the starts for your riding style?
Well, I kind of just wanted to see what had the best rut. Obviously we are having a couple of practice starts, or we all get some practice starts, and then they don't ever fix it, right? So by the time we get to the main event, it usually is, pretty beat up, and there's only really a handful of ruts that are really good, I guess. And for this start, I think it didn't really matter too much whether you were inside or outside, because you could see there were a bunch of good starts coming from the outside as well. Those longer start straights definitely help that out a little bit compared to Arlington 1, where it's really short and you have these 90-degree turns, and it's really difficult or then the position is very important. So I simply just tried to go for the best rut after the gate. And then obviously with the mesh, I like it a lot better, just because you don't have to do as much kicking. Obviously for Supercross, it's been like that for a while now, and the dirt is usually a lot harder than for motocross, for example, but they do have a lot of traction. So honestly, it's like controlling it right off of the gate, because it's super easy to dump the clutch and give it a handful, and before you know it, your handle, if you have to double clutch it or something like that, you're behind everybody's bars, and then it's closed off and you can't do anything about it.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, let's go to Jason Weigan from Racer X.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. This one, I'll go to Ken on this. The sand section looks like that was really where they made up some time on you. Did you feel, first of all, at the beginning of the race, that it might have been your race, or did you know the battle was eventually going to come? And then what did happen in that sand section? Because it looked to me, at least, that's where you probably lost the majority of the gap that you had.
Yeah, honestly, well, you can't, just because you get the whole shot, you cannot think that, oh, I got this, because 20+1 is a long main event. And I know that there were some good guys behind me for sure. So I knew it was going to be a battle. But I think my problem in the sand section was that in the heat race, it worked out really well. I kind of finished the turn there, and I was on the very inside for the upcoming turn before the finish line. And honestly, I was just too narrow-minded there and stuck to it, instead of just cutting down where the main line was, and you could kind of hop over that kicker that was there. And it first off was a lot easier that way. There wasn't so much struggle, because when I finished the turn, the sand was a lot deeper and it seemed like it always pushed up there. So I was kind of pushing the front a little bit, and I actually made a couple of mistakes there where I pretty much singled all the way through the sand. Honestly, I should have just caught on. I should have just caught on to that a lot sooner, because when a section like that is easier and you opening up the angle of the turn, you can just carry so much momentum. And I just lost too much time there. And same within the whoops, I should have just gone to the middle line where it was kind of like a rut, and there were some that were really low and you could kind of bounce your way through there, where I just stuck to the left side where they're a lot bigger, and it worked out okay. But I do feel like in the middle, you could just kind of carry a little bit more momentum and then open up the angle coming back across the start straight. But sometimes you can catch on to it, but at the same time, when you're leading, it's like what Cooper said I think in the race before, like sometimes you can try some different things and it actually bites you, just because the other guys, they can study from you being up front and kind of pick their battles. But up front, you just kind of have to go off instinct, right? So that's where I had to learn, and simply didn't catch on to that line quick enough. And I think that's where I lost too much.
Cool. Let's go to Steve Giberson from Vital MX.
I'm curious for both you guys, you making it through a season safely and is tough enough by itself. You guys have done a great job so far. Is there anything you do in the remaining races to change up the program? We've all been through testing a ton this year for COVID. Do you isolate a little more, or do you just keep running the same program you've been doing? Go for it, Kenny.
Yeah, no, I mean, you don't want to treat it like you're in an off season, I think it's just, for me, it's just enjoying some time being at home. I mean, we live on a lake and stuff, so I feel like we kind of got the vacation in our backyard. So I'm probably just going to stick to that a little bit and see what's coming up. 2 weekends is quite a long time considering it's in the middle of the season. So, but at the same time, I don't know, just don't lose focus and kind of continue doing what we have been doing.
Okay.
All right, David Iser from DMXS Radio.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, this one's for you. We all heard your podium speech after the race, and you were focusing on positives, which we all understand. But the flip side of that is there was some negatives. You lost those 3 valuable championship points. You weren't able to push on Coop after he got by you. How do you process that and not let that creep into your prep for next week? And then maybe after the race, when you get a little alone time to think about those things, how do you keep that negative stuff from creeping into your process?
It's simply because it's racing. You just never know. I mean, it seems to that it doesn't matter whether that's media people or fans or whatever, but I can win in the beginning of the season and go 3 in a row and everybody is on my side. And then as soon as something switches and then, Cooper wins, everybody goes on that side. And then Eli can come back and win a couple. And all of a sudden everybody is all about Eli. I just feel like it changes so much that in the end, we're freaking racing. You know what I mean? Like there's 17 rounds and it could go good for some people in the beginning, not in the end, or good in the middle and not in the beginning. Things can just change. So what am I going to put my head in the ground? First off, like those 3 races are done. And yes, I am behind, but there's nothing I can change about it now. So there's no need for me to pound my head into the ground and think about what I could have and should have done different. So I don't really, it doesn't always have to, you don't always have to try and reinvent the wheel just because you didn't win. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like what I'm holding on to. And, there's 5 races to go and we will just see,
All right, thanks, Kenny.
All right, let's go with Andrew from Revista Moto.
Sorry, I was muted. I'm sorry. Hey, Ken, can you talk a little bit about how important the first race in Atlanta might be for you and your race for the championship?
Well, it's 5 rounds. So honestly, every single race is important, especially when you're in a points deficit, right? Like I can't, every time, I finish behind Cooper, he creeps away and there's less and less time to really make that time up. So all of the races are important, but at the same time, we're going to come to Atlanta 1 and just try and put myself in good position. I feel like for the whole, my starts have been really good. So as long as I continue working on that, of course, you have to always look at what happened. Like, for example, Orlando, there was an unfortunate thing that happened where I picked the wrong rut and had a huge bump in it and didn't see it because of the tough blocks from the mechanics area. And then I had a good ride. And then, Daytona, I kind of got shuffled back, but my start was good. So 95% of the time, my starts are good. And I think that's part of a very, very important thing for these upcoming rounds. So that's what I need to do, just put myself in good positions in the heat and in the main.
Thank you.
All right, let's go with Trent at Moto Limited.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. This one's for Coop. Coop, 15 points up in the championship now, leading into this break. We know in 19, when you were battling for that championship, you sort of stuck with the Supercross during the breaks to get that championship done. Now this is on your, second chance at getting another Supercross title. Are you going to be doing some motocross testing in this time, or are you sticking to the Supercross to round this one out?
Yeah, we're actually going to start some motocross this week. Just some riding, probably not testing or anything. Like we were saying, this with the 2 weekends off, we really have 3 full weeks until we race again. So, I'm excited to kind of switch it up and get some outdoor riding in. It's always nice to switch it up and, ride some outdoors, get some higher speeds. And then I feel like it sometimes helps you when you go back to Supercross, being able to kind of, work on things that you maybe learned outdoors. So, yeah, we're going to do that this week, and then probably half and half the following week, and then full back Supercross. So, Supercross is the focus right now, but I think putting a little bit of motocross in there always seems to work pretty well towards the end of the season.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam.
All right, Brad Gebhardt, Big MX Radio.
Thanks, Dan. Similar question for Ken Roczen. With a 19-day break and an opportunity to do some testing for the outdoor series, what do you feel is going to be your training split between motocross and supercross moving towards the Atlanta rounds, the three most important rounds of the series?
Pretty much on a similar program, to be honest. I mean, I think that's everybody's go-to.
What is it about outdoor racing that you feel maybe is a little bit more fits your style of racing, or do you feel it fits your style of racing more?
Yeah, well, I've just done it for longer. Maybe, I mean, not in the last few years, I guess, if you look at it that way, but in general, in Europe, we grow up with motocross, and our tracks are a lot more natural terrain, where when I came over to the US for the first time, they were all more man-made, triples and doubles, and a little bit more supercross kind of style. So honestly, the first time I really had some supercross experience was when I went to Minios back in like 05 or something like that. And then after that, going into 250s, I rode Dortmund Supercross like once or twice, but in general, I really pretty much came here with zero Supercross experience. And then I just feel like motocross, because of that, kind of just comes a little bit more natural to me.
Perfect. Thanks, Ken.
All right, Nick with Moto Limited.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So this will be for Cooper. Cooper, after the main event on the podium, you said back in the heat race you didn't really like being put onto the ground, and that might have motivated you for the main event. Can you just talk about those couple laps with Sexton and obviously going back to the pits and your thoughts going into the main?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was you never want to be, in that position where, one, you're getting passed, and two, it was racing. I mean, he didn't mean to do it, but, getting taken out is always sucks. So, I think for me, I just try to use it as motivation and ground myself to use that energy, I guess, to get myself going for the main event. I had just gotten, beat and passed by 2 guys and kind of pulled away from. So I was looking for some redemption there. And then, like I said, when you get put on the ground, it's never fun. So I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to handle that situation, but I felt like for me, I just tried to use it to motivate myself to go there in the main and do the best I could, and try to use it to put that pressure on me to go win, I guess would be, how it ended up working out and how I was kind of envisioning it. But you never know how racing is. I mean, it changes all the time. So like I said, I think for me, I just use it as motivation, and it worked out really, really well.
Thanks, Coop. Cheers, Dan.
All right, Alex Gilbert.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, this one's for Cooper Webb. Tell us about the your decision in recent races to be on the spring shock rather than the air, and are you staying with the sprint shock for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think right now that's the plan. At the beginning of the year, we were really key on the air stuff, and to be honest, it's really good. It's just we didn't have much time with it. December is when I got it, and we did some testing, but it's something that we're learning every week. And so I think for me, when I went back to just what I ran last year and just what I know, so I'm sure we'll develop it a little bit here and there, and the goal is to be on it moving forward. But I think right now, just where I'm at and with how I'm riding and everything, we'll stick to the spring and just go from there.
Because your first win of the season, that was on the actual air shock, wasn't it?
Yeah. In Houston, we were on the air, and then after I think it was the second Indiana round for the last Indy, we ended up going back to the spring. And so, yeah, I mean, I think different conditions suit, one better than the other. And like I said, I think there's a lot of great capability with the air. We're just we just need more time. I think it's something where we only had that 1 month, and it's good when you're riding the same kind of tracks. You kind of get a feeling that, hey, we're in a really good spot, and then you go racing and it's totally different sometimes. So and then you the way these styles races were, where we're racing 3 days in a week, opposed to being able to go home and try stuff during the week to make it better. So I think it was more just that. Like I think the air shock is really good, and we could probably be ahead of where I'm at on the spring shock right now. But at what point do you just go to with what you know and stick to it? And I think that's kind of the decision we made.
Right on. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Michael Antonovich.
Cool. Thanks, Dan. For Ken and Cooper, it doesn't really matter, as we've seen lately. Bad rut, bad gate pick, good gate pick. No matter what, you guys kind of seem to find each other on the starting line of the main event and are side by side. This is for both of you, starting with Ken and then Cooper. Is this a strategy thing? Is this coincidence? Is this part of a tactic of, if I can be right next to him, I can control what he's going to do as soon as we get out of the gate? Or is it just kind of how things keep shaking out?
I mean, I don't know. Strategy is, I don't know. It's so hard to, predict things in general. And especially, I mean, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but, if I'm second gate pick and he's 10th, like, in my eyes, it's more so coincidence than anything else that we end up side by side. I don't know. I don't really look at it that way. I just base it off of, what I can, when I look at the start corner and angle coming in. And of course, you got to just look at the, what is somewhat of the smoothest rut. I mean, there have been situations where I've taken a little bit worse of a rut, but to be a little bit on a different position on the starting gate. But in general, I just focus on myself and do whatever I feel like is best for, to be in the first turn. And that, sometimes it ends up next to him and sometimes not. But for me, it doesn't really have anything to do with strategy or anything like that.
Yeah, it's same. I mean, I think, like you said, the angle and the ruts is what I look at, and I'd say what we all kind of look at. So when we're, say he wins a heat and I win a heat, we're 1 and 2, then usually we're around each other, just because those are the preferred lines. To where, this weekend I was 10th, so there wasn't many options, and I just kind of went for what I thought was the best route out of the available gates left. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is getting a clean gate when you can, meaning coming out of the start with the rut is important. And, a lot of the times we all kind of know where the starts are genuinely coming from. And I think we all kind of gravitate to those areas on the start.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
All right, let's Stefan Legrand.
Yes, thank you, Dan. This is a question for Cooper. Like we said, we have 5 rounds to go. I mean, if you go back at the beginning of the season, did you expect to be where you are right now, battling with Kenny and not with somebody else for the championship?
I don't think you ever know. I mean, the goal is always to try to be, at least for me, in the championship hunt, always. And I mean, this year I feel like every year it gets more stacked, and you just never know. I mean, this year's been a good year for me, and it's been a good year for Ken, and we've established ourselves as the 2 title guys right now. And but it's just kind of crazy how it works out, because last year Eli was really dominant there at the end, and ended up getting the championship and whatnot. So you never know. I mean, I think just with their class and how it stacks up, it's racing. You never know what can happen, but I mean, it is, at least for me looking right now, we're the 2 in the championship hunt, and we have really quite a big gap on 3rd place. So I'd say we both been really fast, but also really consistent this year, and put ourselves in good situations. So yeah, I mean, for me, that's, like I said, the goal is to always try to be in the championship hunt, no matter who it is, and just execute, especially later down the line. It's important to start off strong, but 17 races, there's a lot that can happen. Consistency is important, and being in the championship hunt, or like everyone always says, around Daytona, is super important.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to start winding it down. We'll do 2 more. Steve Guybertson, and then Jason Wygant will round us out. Steve?
Cooper, Atlanta's kind of neutral territory. It's a new venue. Haven't been there before. When we think of normally the Atlanta round, red clay is, the surface there. Red clay indoors is great. Red clay outside, maybe not so much. But what are you looking forward to seeing in Atlanta, and for those 3 rounds?
Yeah, like you said, it'll be different. I think that's it's cool, because I don't think none of us have an advantage or know what to expect or know how it's going to be at all. So I do think that's kind of cool. A little different, I'm sure, than our traditional in the stadium Supercrosses. Outside, weather can always play a factor, and so yeah, like you said, I mean, hopefully that Atlanta dirt is usually really good, and hopefully they can keep it good all week, and we'll have a good track. But I mean, I always enjoyed Atlanta. For me, like growing up as a kid, that was the closest race to North Carolina. So like I grew up going as a kid going to the Georgia Dome, and so yeah, to go to Atlanta Motor Speedway will be pretty cool, and they have fans there will be sweet, and for me, I enjoy those Southern fans. Are always a good additive. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it ends up, and like I said, hopefully it ends up good, and they can keep the tracks really good.
It's also a little bit of a different design, or different track builders, different designers from Daytona. Are you looking more Daytona style, or are you looking for more traditional style?
I have no idea, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure it'll be somewhat Daytona style. I mean, I would have to imagine, just off maybe the floor plan or whatever you want to call it. But it seems like they're gonna make it more Supercrossy, is the way the track map looks and stuff like that. But I think once once they get there and see how everything is, that's when I think everyone will know. I mean, we see it a lot where the track maps are one thing, and then we get there and they're totally different. So, like I said, I think we'll see how it goes. I'm sure the red clay will be what they're using, and I'm sure a longer lap time, which will be cool. So, yeah, I'm excited to kind of see how it ends up.
Thanks.
All right, there you have it. Jason Wygant, final question.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. This is for Coop. We've seen you do this before, where you're studying film or whatever it might be, and you're able to apply it. I'm sure there's a lot of technology, can see things. but you've always been good at actually making it happen. We've seen it in multiple races. Do you know where you learned that? And is that something that's come to you as a pro, or you've always kind of had that ability to see something and then actually go out and change it and do it race time?
Yeah, I'm not sure how I, kind of learned to adapt to that. I guess I've just always, as a kid, been like, even as a fan of the sport, like I just loved watching videos of riding and people riding. And so I think for me, it's just something I enjoy. Like I don't necessarily study film or anything like that, but when I watch something, I guess I'm just able to kind of see it and know how I would do it, or how I can change and do something that they're doing, or vice versa. So yeah, I think and the way the racing is now with the dartfish and everyone being filmed all the time, you have that easy access and you can see a lot of things. And so it makes it hard at times where, if you want to keep something hidden, it's pretty hard. But for me, yeah, I'm able to kind of watch and learn and just apply it and pick up on it. So it's something that I guess I'm pretty good at, you could say. So, but no, I don't know if I learned it as a pro or as an amateur or whatever. Just always something that I was able to do would be watch something and then just go out. Even as a kid, I'd watch something and then go try it and see if I could do it. So I think that's what maybe propelled me to be able to do it now as a pro.
All right. There you have it. Hey, everybody, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All the photography, the videography, the podcasting, the writing, the commentating, everything you do for the sport. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much to all the media. We know how hard you work and all those long hours. And so thanks for doing that. Big thank you to Cooper Webb and Ken Roczen. I know y'all are crazy busy, and to take your time out of your schedule in this kind of unusual press conference on a Monday, it means a lot. So thank you both for what you're doing. Keep up the great work and the great writing. It's entertaining the whole world. Thank you. And looking forward to seeing all you April 10th at Atlanta Motor Speedway for another round of Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship.